Hi guys, welcome to another episode, and it's a surreal moment for me today, having somebody really special, uh, because never it's happened to me in my whole life that somebody told me that, hey, you know what, you're wasting your time with other platforms. Go check this one out, and this one is just blowing out in the whole e-commerce space. And then I saw what Jimmy and Sendland's doing. So excited, Jimmy. Thank you so much for your time today.
Good. Happy to be here. Excited to be here. And thank you for the kind words.
No, so Jimmy, how? As in, there are like a million questions that I have for you, and the time's gonna run short. I'm preparing this, saying this to myself, right? Because I gotta take it easy, try to learn as much as I can from you. So let's kickstart. Jimmy, I'd love for you to tell people a little bit about yourself, the journey, and I know you started this 8 years back. So why, how, and today where you are, please, to start with.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting stories I have, man. Like Sendlane, I'll tell you, Sendlane didn't start because I wanted to start a business. So let's zap all the way back. All right. So my first life and career, I was in car sales. I learned a lot of cars. I sold a lot of cars. I managed dealerships. I did a lot of cool stuff there. That's kind of where I cut my teeth in sales. And then my second career, I decided that I wanted to go online, and I partnered with a guy. I learned about this wonderful thing called email marketing, where I could build this amazing list, send an email out, and people would buy, click, and convert. And I was hooked, and that's what I wanted to do. And I started to learn that, and through all that, I ended up starting affiliate marketing. Right, that's where I started my roots. 2008, I was an affiliate marketer. I learned how that I could inject myself in between two people and make money off of it. I thought that was really cool. Started making a little bit of money. Started making an email list, and I started becoming a content creator. I started realizing that I can teach people what I'm doing too as well.
Nice.
And so that started happening. I started making a good amount of money doing that. And then where I got into e-commerce was not actually truly walking into e-commerce. This is 2013, retail storefront, Las Vegas, men's streetwear clothing, or a boutique store. And it's a friend of mine. He comes to me and says, "Hey, I need $50,000 to pay for this PO to fund for this next season. I've got this brand who wants to buy it. Can you help me out?" And I was like, "Well, I've got $50,000. Let me do it." And so I put it in there, and it was just supposed to be debt. Well, over the next like maybe a couple months, I started to get to know about the business a bit, and I realized that there was so much opportunity. There was a vision there that I saw really clearly, and I saw it. Hey, I'm the marketer. I can help you with this stuff. Like, let me show you what we can do here together. So I took that money, made it an investment, and that's what we did. And the first thing I did was, well, we spun up a Shopify store. This is 2013, right? We set up an online store, and over the next couple of years, we progressed. We went from about a 700K annual store to a $10 million business. We went from being a boutique to a D2C
Mhm.
brand to a self brand to a complete e-commerce. We went from 800 square feet to 6,000 square feet with a warehouse and all this cool stuff. And it was a really fun journey. Now, all through that, I had this weird problem. I'm trying to do my marketing, and I've got MailChimp and I've got Bronto. Those are the two tools I had back then.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with it. And I knew that I had to go figure something out. So myself and a couple friends and my co-founders, I said, put some money in, guys. We can go build this thing and do it ourselves. That's kind of how it started, right? And we didn't think it'd be so hard, but we thought it'd be so easy to just put some money and build this thing. And that's what we did, though. And for the next 4 years, man, we used that product on our own. So as long as Sendlane's been around, it hasn't been around as long because part of the years it was not anything you could buy. It was a tool that
Okay.
we used internally, and we used it
Sure.
for different things that we needed for our business. So all comes back to September 2017. I'm exiting my other business. That content creator business became a software business, actually, over time, as crazy as that
Yeah.
sounds.
Yeah.
And I exited that software business, and I also exited my e-commerce business. And I looked around and I said, what do I want to build? And that's where Sendlane came in. So 2018, 2017, 2018, I was just basically selling. Anyone who would buy the product, I'd sell to because I needed to make
Mhm.
money so I can
Yeah.
build. And then I realized that I needed to go raise money. And so that's what I went with, raise money in 2018. I went out and raised the seed capital round. And the idea behind the seed capital round was obviously we need to rebuild this new platform, and we need to build it for a very focused vertical of e-commerce, right? So we started to build that out 2018, and it took almost 3 years almost to rebuild the platform the way we wanted to. And then in 2021, we came back into the market and we raised an A round, and we continued to push forward as we continue today. So what was I doing back then when I started the business? I didn't start the business because I wanted to build an email marketing company. I built the business because I wanted to eliminate the tech stack. And I think that's the crazy thing that I'm actually after. back in 2013 to 2016, when I was running a Shopify store, it was worse than it is today, because back then we used to buy $2.99, $3.99, $7.99 widgets for all
Yeah.
sorts of stupid things. And I don't
Yeah.
even know what most of those things did, but I bought a bunch of tools and it would rack up my bill and it would drive me insane.
Yeah.
And I thought about that and I said, well, email is my core and foundation. I'm going to go build this, but then I'm going to start rapidly accelerating all the different channels and all the different things that are related to the retention channel. I want to own the retention channel as a Martech, right? And
Right.
so that's what I started to build, man. So there's that. So that's kind of where our story kind of blossomed. And then today, obviously, we're continuing to accelerate. We're making a lot of traction and noise. And to your question, like, where did we come out of? Well, it wasn't a short journey. It was a long journey of really getting the product right, and then getting the messaging right, and then truly understanding how we're better. And that's really been the biggest thing. It's been about the positioning, about realizing that we inherently used to take Klaviyo, right? And Klaviyo was an inspiration at some point because they
Yeah.
were in market before us.
Yeah.
And we'd look at their product and be like, why they do that? That makes no sense. Let's do it this way. Let's skip all these steps and make it quicker and faster. And so we focused on that. And a lot of these things that I focused on, I actually look back, and hopefully one day I can see this story happen or unwind with us. But basically, the MailChimp and Constant Contact story was very similar. Constant Contact carved the space, they created it, but then MailChimp came in with a better, easier user
Yeah.
UI, easier
On that.
product,
Yeah.
better customer service, better pricing. And they
Yeah.
were able to take on the behemoth. I'm kind of following a little bit of that David versus Goliath playbook. I'm following that, but then I actually think that where we really got, and reason why Sendland showed up this year, is that we went from what I call the chasing, which is where you're trying to chase the startup, to now we're racing. And what I'm saying about that is now we're at the innovation cycle and they can't keep up as fast as I can ship right now. And when you can ship faster than
Right.
your competitor, they can't keep up with you. And they know that. I shipped my reviews product out weeks before
Yeah.
they were able to ship out
Yeah.
because they couldn't keep up. And they know that. They know that, we have the same mantra and thought process.
Yeah.
So, there's that. I also, because I'm a marketer, man, the big thing I was able to do is I was able to connect with the community, connecting with the community out there, LinkedIn, D2C, Twitter. I'm very well connected with all the important people in the market, not because I'm the SaaS guy by any means. It's because I'm the marketer and I actually get what the end user really wants to do. I'm the product guy in this business, but I'm also my own customer. I'm building for myself. I was a $10 million merchant. I'm building for that merchant. I'm a middle market guy, right? I build
Yeah.
for the mid market. So I think the resonation of understanding who I am, who we are, what our voice is, and also having that strategic playbook of being a marketer, all of those things come in together into playing out to where we are today. And I think that as much as it might seem like we came out of left field, man, I've been banging my head for 2 years trying to enter that field. And I always tell people, like, what's the beauty of a startup is very simple. We bang our heads for years and years on the same thing. And
Yeah.
when we all get the one opportunity, you will always get an opportunity if you do good work for years. You better
Yes.
capitalize the living hell out of it and be really good at it. And right now, I would say that I'm humbled and I'm grateful that we've hit that stride and I've been capitalizing the hell out of it, doing anything I can do. All the things that you're not supposed to do, by the way, things that they don't scale, things that don't work out really well. I do all of those because it's whatever it takes at this point, right? We're
Sure.
at a war cry, and it's battle for us, right? Because we are the incumbents. We are in a very tough market. We know
Yes.
how important, like, the migration process.
Yeah.
Though we do everything, it's still the scariest thing that any merchant can experience here today, right? And so we are challenged with all of those things. And in order to overcome all those, well, man, you just got to be louder, crazier, and wilder than everybody else. And really, that's what we do, man. I'm bold. We go out to market. We're not afraid to stand up next to our a competitor. When anytime I go to a trade show, for example, I book my booth as close to Klaviyo as possible because I want to look at them right in the eye, because that's the only thing that drives me to win, right? So that's what it is, man. It's about a constant confidence that you can do better than they are doing, and just knowing that you will have to put in the energy and blood, sweat, and tears to get there. And even today, man, as great as you might think we're doing, I'm just constantly worried. I'm scared. I don't even get to enjoy it today because I'm
Yeah.
thinking about 12
Yeah.
months from the future. I'm thinking about all the little startups that could pick us up. I'm looking at what they're doing. I'm looking at these other competitors, and I'm strategically thinking about what that next move is, because I need to continue to get this win, right? It's not about just getting here. It's about continuing to keep that and snowballing it faster and faster, and just being just undeniably in a constant state of paranoia almost, right? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I live, and that's founder life, right? That's what we are as founders. That's why we're founders, because we're obsessed and we're slightly crazy about these things. But, like, I have a vision. I know the vision is very much validated. I know the vision is very much wanted. And Proof is in the pudding with my customers with the unified front. Email,
Yeah.
SMS reviews today. Dude, we have some of the coolest brands signing up right now or signed up that we haven't announced yet. Like, we're doing earth shattering logo steals right now from front pages of our competitors right now because we truly deliver better everything across pricing, save time, and make more money. What more do you want, man? And that's really what it comes down to. So,
This is mind-boggling, super impressive. I love your energy, and I've been trying to build something again for about 2 years now. So I get the part, right? Building something is super super hard, and building something that gets successful is million times more difficult than that, right? But
absolutely.
every time I open Twitter, every time I open LinkedIn, Jimmy, it's some of those Manhattan guys sitting together and announcing that, hey, we're moving to Sendland and it's working out amazing. The migration went very nicely. I saw Chase Diamond coming into your advisory, right? Which is, again, a super impressive guy. I'm sure he's going to add a lot of value. I I know from a founder's perspective, you're always thinking, right? But I just want to understand one thing very deep down core, and you mentioned about, again, the David Goliath story, etc. Right? So we are in uh, real time intent space, right? So we have built a platform which is similar to Canva for creative automation stuff, etc. We've replicated about 80%, and because we liked Canva a lot of our customers use Canva, but there are two fundamental problems with Canva. One is it still takes you about 20 minutes to create one image, right? And then every single image is like those 20 minutes. It doesn't create 100,000 images by itself.
Yep.
And second, there's no online integration. You still have to download a PNG, upload into the CMS, headless or whatever, right? So, so it was like some kind of product which connects data and design together to churn that out in real time is what we try to do. So for us, it was clear that this is the solution we want to build, and this is the problem with this solution in the space of e-commerce we are looking at. Right. So when you looked at building Sendlane and I love those niche segmentation that you guys offer, the kind of deep down messaging that you guys can send to the customers, etc. Was it that MailChimp or Klaviyo are not able to do these things, and these are my problem statements for my merchants, so I'll focus my platform around it? What was that the major thought process?
No, that's not the major thought process. I think those come naturally. Those differentiators come naturally. We do have a bunch of differentiators on that side, but at the fundamental core of it, I like to say very simple. And this is the kind of the statement I use for people who understand this market. So if you understand the market, I say very simple. We are the ease of use of MailChimp with the robust power of Klaviyo, right? With the customer support of a PostScript or Attentive. And those are all best in class, and they hit all three marks. I hit all three marks that everyone likes. People like their SMS comment, not because the platform's good, because their customer service is good. They
Yeah,
like Klaviyo because it's robust, but they really like Mailchimp because it was easy to use.
yeah,
We focused on all three of those. And so when we think about things, and I tell people all the time, we solved inherent problems that you as a Klaviyo user often are annoyed by. Things that you're like, man, why did I have to click 17 times to get this one piece of data? Or like, why do I have to copy an automation to do this? Or why do I have to do like we solved all those problems and we focused on those problems because we see us as a better mousetrap. We think that we can create a better, smoother experience because I am building again for the merchant. And because I'm a merchant, I lead the product team here today. Still today, every day, I work with them all the time. I'm talking about the next future design iteration ideas. And then we go validate the living hell out of it. Even though I know, I still go validate it with merchants because I want to make sure that I'm right about these things,
yeah,
right? And then we go out and validate and we bring it onto market. And we nail it because we know and what we built was not built by us, actually, dude. We were just a vehicle. We used their words and their energy and their thought process and what their needs were
wow,
to
yeah,
build our product. And that was the biggest key for us is making sure that you are listening to the customer and talking to them. Too often, product managers or product owners are too confident is the right word or
yeah.
too, you know what I mean? Like,
Overconfident.
I've done my research, so it's
Yeah,
obvious that this is going to work. No, Mr. Product Manager, if you don't
no,
talk to
it's not.
20 to 50 people every time you're building a major change, you're probably going to miss the boat. And that's what I believe that happens across the mark. And like really understanding your customer and truly building for your customer, dude, your customer wants to tell you what you want, you should build. They do. It's important for you to take that and filter it and be able to take exactly the
Exactly,
right
right? Yeah.
noise and the wrong noise and putting it together and then bring it into the business that you need to do.
Which is super hard. Which is
Super
super.
hard because you want to be reactionary. And what I tell you is it takes that guiding principle like a product guy and to be able to sit back patiently and listen and listen and listen and then make the decision when it feels right and you know it's the right move for you, right? We all build things because we think things are important. You should build things because they're wanted, not because they're important. That's the difference, right?
I
And
love
you
the
see it all
clarity.
the time, dude.
Yeah.
Software companies try to redevelop people's playbooks, man. It's
Yeah.
not. Marketers should be developing
Yeah.
the playbooks. SaaS companies should be helping those playbooks execute, not the
Yes.
other way around.
Not the
And we
other
see
way.
this
Yeah.
all the time in the market. I call that out all the time from people, and it's always a light bulb for everybody. They're always like, "Oh yeah, I didn't think about that." Yeah, it's not good for the experience. It's just good for their pockets or good for their attribution or whatever it might be. And I think
Yeah.
that rawness of myself being able to call it out and stuff that resonates in market too as well. I'm very unconventional when it comes to a CEO. I understand that, and that's just who I am as a person. But again, this isn't my first rodeo either. It's my third business. My first two are bootstrapped, right?
Yeah.
And so when I've bootstrapped businesses, you got to be
It's a different
at
ball
a
game.
level of execution where you can't miss. And it's really, really a hard thing to do. And I failed a lot, but ultimately none of the failures matter if the end result is greatness. So yeah.
Yeah, but the way you speak, the kind of clarity, the confidence that you come up with, Jimmy, the only way to do it is to go and do it over and over, and you learn by yourself, right? There's no
That's it.
MBA, no management book or whatever is going to ever teach you that,
I
right?
know. I
So,
never finished college, dude. I always laugh about that. I never finished college, dude.
yeah,
And I didn't
okay,
drop out because I was stupid or failing. I dropped out because I didn't see what the point was anymore.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so funny, again, I was in London meeting a few agency owners, again, the whole e-commerce thing, whatever. So there's this one conversation which is kind of really brewing steam here is in the past 4 weeks, we've seen about approximately on an average 70 Shopify apps released on a weekly basis, right? Is the market really getting crowded? Is it getting kind of insane?
So if a tree falls in a forest, does anyone hear it? That's how the Shopify App Store is these days. I hate to tell you that, being straight up with it. They have
Sure.
too many
Yeah.
apps, too much noise, and no one cares. The buyers are not there. None of your buyers, and I know you have a lot of Shopify App Stores that listen to this. None of your buyers are on the Shopify App Store, not the ones that you want.
You
Maybe
want
the
that.
ones that will try your product, the ones that will tap on it and do different things, but the ones that and I'm talking to anybody who's listening because I know what that you guys want, none of those are in the App Store.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Where are
Yeah.
they? They're running their businesses. They're running their operations. They're on social media. They're running their daily lives,
Yeah.
and they're on community things. They're community driven. They're at events. That's where your customers are at, not at the app store. To me, go look at my app store. I've got one review and one 5-star, and you would never know we're doing as crazy as we are. Why? Because we don't
Yeah.
care. I literally don't care about the app store. I'm only there because I'm forced to be there, not because I
Yeah.
want to be there. I
Okay.
was unlisted for years until they forced me to be listed. I didn't want to be listed. I don't
Oh,
care.
wow.
You
Okay.
know why? I've tested this, man. I've put money into the app store. I've run ads against it. I've watched my churn that occurs out of my app store. And the number one reason people churn is not because they disconnected your app. It's because their business goes out of business most of the time. That's why.
Yes. Yeah.
Why? And
Yes.
what does that tell you? You've got the worst and lowest intent customers rolling through
Yeah.
that app store. The
Yeah.
uneducated buyer, the people who have no idea. Where do people go when they want to be educated? They go to social channels, they go to their network, they go to their community. That's
Yeah.
where you need to be in order to grow. So, my number one thing about it is don't worry about the app store. Literally, the opposite reaction that I'm sure everybody will have, but don't worry about it. Go talk and find your customers where they're living and just go find them. And that's really the answer. I mean, I look back, same thing. And the same advice I give anybody starting right now is go find your customers, call him, email him, LinkedIn them, social media them. Just go find him and don't be creepy or don't be evasive, but they're
Sure.
willing to
Yeah.
talk to you. There's ways to go around and talk to people. And, there's always going to be pies in the sky that you're chasing after. But the reality of it is like, we got to walk before you can run. So you got to kiss some frogs until you find your prince or princess. So you just basically got to go talk to a lot of people. When I go back to 2021 and 2020, when we were first like, hey, our platform's about to launch, what do we do? How do we get more business going?
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally, me and my VP of sales, now VP of sales, not wasn't then, it was just an account executive. We literally stood back to back, and we used to call 100 calls a day, him and I. And we used to make 3 to 4 demos a day. And those 3 to 4 demos, we'd close one of those deals. That was our science, man. Every morning we called 100 people. The 100 people we wanted, we'd call them, we'd leave voicemails, we'd email them, and then we'd do it every day in and day out. That's how we grew at first. The hardest way possible, man. But that was the only way it grew. And then even today, man, as much noise as we have today, guess what, man? We're still going outbound, still finding people. They've heard of us, still not signing up, man. They still need to make that intent and decision. They've got to have the problem. So hearing about us is not enough sometimes. It's also having the intent, reason, and want and desire to make that switch or make that decision to make that purchase. You
Yeah.
see what
And
I'm trying to
especially,
say?
yeah.
There's a lot to it, man, and it's totally different than I would most people understand. So to my answer to it is great that there's Shopify apps. I didn't know that stat. That's actually terrifying. They're allowing that many people approved into the App Store, as many
Yeah.
bad apps as I've seen. But at the same time, I don't care because that doesn't really help anybody because nobody really uses the App Store.
Yeah.
So, and if Shopify hears this, they're probably going to be like, oh, they do, and blah, blah, blah. Sure, maybe. I don't know. You show me something different. I've seen the data, and I've seen a lot of data, not on just my data. I've seen other people's data. I've seen other
Sure.
companies'
Yeah.
data. We've
Yeah.
all compared notes. All the founders, all the SaaS founders that I work with, we've all compared notes. It's all the same, man. It's abysmal in the store. Go work on the other side. The B2B foundation still works. The App Store days are a little bit over. It's a couple years too late in the App Store.
Yeah.
So,
I saw a few posts there, Jimmy, that one guy said that I ended up paying about $850 for install
yep.
on the ads, and this guy uninstalled in like 5 minutes, and I'm like,
Oh
just
yeah.
kill me. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
an
dude. I've
insane amount of
spent
money.
I've spent money on that ad store, man. I've spent real
Yeah.
money, not like small money.
Yeah.
I'm in a competitive space. I spent it. Doesn't matter, and it's not like you're losing to keywords. These people just are the wrong buyers. They're the extreme SMB early adopters that don't know that there's a social channel or network. That's not my customer. Might be yours, but not mine. So that's like
Yeah.
where I think about. And no one honestly wants that customer. Everyone wants the customer that's established and growing and yada yada yada, right? You want a business that's found product market fit and all that stuff. And if you want that, they're not browsing your app store. So
Okay. Okay.
hopefully I give you the enlightening, dramatic thing that you might have probably never wanted to hear, but the truth.
No, but it's very insightful to say the least. And I'm like brutally honest here. That's a perspective I didn't think of at all.
Yeah.
Right. So, food for thought, and of course, trying to learn from it, and that's this thing all about. So I'm glad we had this discussion on this point as well.
Yep.
Uh, Tell me the early days that you spoke of. When making those 100 calls every day, doing this, right? And there's a lot of talk about founders. Is one of the biggest things is consistency, right? You just got to do the boring old same thing again and again, etc., right? And that takes a lot. Um, there must be a lot of friction, a lot of inertia. Why should I listen to Sendland when there are these other guys, etc., right? What would your advice be for younger guys, again, like me, and the ones who are starting out, maybe a couple of years in the business, haven't found their PMF at the moment, are still trying to figure this out? How would you position yourself, or what would your approach be there?
Yeah. So what's funny about that is number one, it's the answer is just do it is the real first answer, and I think that's really hard for people to understand. And number two is most people that are on that call that do pick up, you're probably never going to talk to them again, so it's no big deal if you fuck up, right? And number three, that literally is your opportunity to figure out how to find PMF. PMF is not only about your product, but how that product fits into that market and is described and is positioned into that market, right? Guess what you can do when you talk to a lot of people, man? You can make up stuff. You can talk about things. You
Yeah.
can say whatever you want until
Yeah.
you find that one thing that works, and then you start hammering on it.
Yeah.
My team always thinks it's hilarious, but different people on the team follow me to a lot of trade shows. I go to a lot of trade shows. Why do I love trade shows? I love going because I can formulate the pitch and I can continue to work on my pitch in person person after person after person after person. And
Yeah.
90% of the people I meet are never going to sign up for our product or never going to talk to again. So who cares? Say what you need to say, get it out there and see if it reacts and see if it works. And then repeat it when it works. And if it doesn't work again, then skip it and move to the next one. So to your thing, and I know that the idea of calling and everyone returns to email, especially the younger generation, I hate to say it, but the decision makers are still on phone calls, right? Right? Think about that. The people who are decision makers often are in their 40s, 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s. We still pick up our phone calls, right? And the second thing I say is like, it doesn't matter what you say, man. If it doesn't work out well, you got another person to talk to next. The market's huge. So make sure you just talk to a lot of people. And so my advice to people like yourself, if you're worried about it, is who are you worried about? The person on the end, they're never going to hear from you, probably most likely and forget about you 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah.
You just gotta have balls, man. This is guts and glory. They didn't call it finding
Yeah.
a company if it was easy, man.
It is so true. So
Yeah,
true.
and
Yeah.
it's the most uncomfortable zone that you might get out of. But hey, dude, every company that I've ever seen, their early founding story doesn't have a huge sales element of the founder selling. Very rarely do you see success out of a company. It's very
Yeah.
true. You got to
It-
sell, dude. You got to sell. And you're the best person to sell right now because you can problem solve right on the call. When they challenge you, you can at least
oh,
come up with an idea. You know.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I say. And now at this point, I don't sell anymore. But up until about 9, 10 months ago, I was definitely still selling even till then. And just about 9, 10 months ago, I finally got out. I still sell. I'm still like helping close deals and work on
Sure.
the final calls and stuff. But what's that called again? That definitely was an important part of the business journey.
Okay, I'm gonna beat myself for many days now that why the heck did I not speak to you earlier? It's like I'm gonna sleep today and wake up like a different person. All my things change, Jimmy, but I'm
All
glad
right, man.
that's going
And if I
on.
can save you some time from losing sleep over things
Absolutely.
that don't
Yeah.
work, man,
Yeah.
I did my job as an entrepreneur.
No, absolutely, and that's the idea of this whole podcast, right? If people listen to guys like you, learn from there and save some time, save some money because it's crucial. Every minute from a founder is worth whatever.
Every dollar you're missing too, as well, because you could have had
Yeah.
a job making money. So you're actually
Yes.
negative EV until you become positive. In fact, if I look at Sendland's history, I'm probably have lost so much money in my life
Fair.
building Sendland. But you know what? The journey and the outcome for me and the learning lessons that I've learned, that pays for everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the most
Okay.
expensive education that I've ever had. It's
Yeah.
better than college. It's the best thing that I've ever done. And I think that as I look into my next career and I talk about it, like there's going to be a next career. I'm going to go build something else next. I
Sure.
will not make those stupid mistakes and I will do it twice as fast, 3 times as fast next time because this time I know exactly where to pull the triggers. And it might be
Yeah.
wrong, but at least I
Yeah.
know where to go with the playbook, right?
Yeah. Indeed. All right. So I have two last questions, Jimmy.
Sure.
The second last goes and says that a lot of merchants that I've spoken to in the past are, seeing the reality that the whole COVID growth they saw is not true anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing decline in traffic, ad costs going up anyways, conversion rates taking a hit, etc., etc. And then they end up discounting, which, hits your margins in a very different way. So in your eyes, and because you work with really large brands, and how do you see the market? Is it like a correction? Is it just like a small steep and everything's going to be okay? Or how do you see the next 2 years in e-commerce?
I think that we are, look, what goes up must come down,
Hmm.
right? I don't think we're actually struggling. I think that it was just way easier 2 years ago. That's all it was, right? And when I talk to brands all the time, and I do this thing called Mentor Pass, and I help people out, and I and do this for free. Like I just go out and market and teach people things because I like to be connected. One of the things that I've learned of the last maybe 10 conversations I've had, man, people try to do way too much. Way too much. That's why they're failing. I want to build a community. I want to do TikTok ads. I want to do Facebook ads. I want to be a creator. I want to run Google ads. I want to also do this SEO thing. And I challenge the entrepreneurs I talk to often, and I say very simple: where are you getting your customers from? And they'll be like, well, we get them from here and here. And then I say, well, why do you do any of the other things that you're doing? Focus, man,
Yeah.
focus. So
Okay.
in an e-commerce company, for example, in the market, why are you failing is probably because your focus is lacking. And you never got really good at one. You did a bunch of little ones. And when it was really easy, everyone was flying high. The moment it got hard, you never became an expert in that one focus you should have had. So business building 101 a little bit in a different way. But like when I look at them, I say, hey, if Facebook ads is wearing, why are you wasting time on TikTok? Or why are you wasting time making this? Or why are you wasting time doing all this stuff? Let's focus on the revenue, the bottom line, the numbers, and what's working. Let's repeat that and double and triple down on that. So to me, my advice is very simple. Get focused on what's working in your business because there is something working. And if there's nothing working, go find whatever's working and only focus on that and stop wasting your time on the rest of the crap that's not working right now.
Makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Again, what's the wisdom gold nuggets here? So that's great. Um, so this is the last a little bit of fun part for us, not for you, but it is that you have to tell us something for the audience, for me, that you've never told anyone before.
Told no one?
Nobody. It has to be a fun fact. It has to be something about you or something. But you, it's like something that you're sharing with us for the community.
God, I could tell you something I don't talk a lot about.
Oh, good.
My
Yeah.
my real name's not Jimmy.
Okay. Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
like to know that.
I was when I came to America at the age of 1. I rolled in, and my uncle, who was already here with my aunt, looked at me and said, "Hyung, that's my actual Korean name. Hyung is not going to work in America. You need to be Jimmy."
Okay.
That's where I became Jimmy. And so, as funny as that is, it stuck with me. I'm not James. I'm not Jim. I'm Jimmy, and that's it because that's what I was named. It's not a nickname. It's actually my name that was awarded to me by my uncle. And it's a weird name thing, but there you go. There's something I don't ever really talk about ever. So there you go.
But that's yeah, that's the thank you, and that's a cool thing that we got to know from you. So that's amazing, Jimmy. This has been amazing. Given what you guys have been able to build and where you are at the moment, just the curves of that amazing growth that you guys are seeing, and and I wish that just continues. I know the way you build things. There are going to be obstacles, but that's just part of the business. I'm
That's it.
fairly confident you guys are going to go ahead. There are so many things that we all can learn from you. It's mind boggling. But again, for starters, I think this was an amazing session. Thank you so much for your time.
Well,
And
thanks for
now
having
that
me.
now that you bothered to reply and get in the call, and I have your coordinates, I promise to keep on bugging you again and again, so you can't escape me.
That's fine. And anyone
Yeah,
who's listening, as I tell people, I'm free on Mentor Pass. I don't cost anything on Mentor Pass, believe it or not. You still got to pay for Mentor Pass for credits, but for
yeah.
me, I'm actually a free mentor on there because I love helping. So please let me know how I can help.
Sure. Well, yeah, but thank you for this, Jimmy. I hope others watch it, understand what you've said, because it comes really, from your experience, which I think is worth a lot. So really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for doing this with us, and looking forward to having you again on the show sometime soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you again.
Okay. Thank you.